Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome to Saturday Sanga. Thank you all for joining us.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj.
In case you didn't know, it's Saturday.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj.
Yay, Saturday. When I was a little kid, we were always happy when it was Saturday. Saturday was. Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kalamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutta Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavangscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Nitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanditangscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti-Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gaudavani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya-deshatarine Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Yes, welcome again everyone to Saturday Sanga. And today, what are we doing today? We're going to sing a song of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakura. And we're going to, what else are we going to do? Well, we'll see if there's any show and tell, and we will do some more warm-up kata, priming the pump for the appearance of Lord Krishna, Janmashtami Titi coming up soon. So I thought we can read a few different things, but maybe I will hold that in suspense. Yes, suspense. Let's keep it suspenseful. Stay tuned, find out soon what we will read and discuss. And we're going to start with Bhaktivinoda Thakura's song Upadesa, number 7, from his Kalyana Kalpataru. And today he's talking about, he's preaching to his mind, don't waste your time with yoga. Watch out, yogis. Manah jogi hote Tomar Basana, joga-sastra adhyayana, niyama-yama-sadhana, nijama or niyama, Bengali. Niyama-yama-sadhana, pranayama, asana-racana. So, my dear mind, now you want to become a yogi. Tomar Basana, your desire, your longing, has become hoite, jogi, or you want to become jogi hoite. You read the various scriptures, joga-sastra, adhyayana, which describe various routines and techniques of sense control, niyama-yama-sadhana, breathing exercises, pranayama, asana-racana. Racana means making, forming, producing, I guess. Asana-racana, making asana. Pratyahara, dhyana, dhrti, samadhite, hole, brati, phala, kiba, bolona. For attaining ultimate samadhi, you undertake many different practices, like withdrawal of the senses, pranayama, what did I say? Pratyahara, meditation and perseverance, dhyana, dhrti, perseverance, dhrti, samadhite, and brati, that would be from Sanskrit vrata, which means vow, and a brati would be a person who keeps a vow. So just like yoga and yogi, so there's brata and brati. Pratyahara, dhyana, dhrti, samadhite, hole, which would be hoile, brati, hoile, will become or will be, phala, kiba, hoibe, bolona. Tell me, what wonderful result will be there in exchange for such endeavor? Phala is result, fruit. Kiba is the question word. Kiba hoibe, what will happen? What will be? And bolona, literally, don't tell me. Don't tell me what result is going to be there. Because I know it's not going to be anything worthwhile. So don't even bother. Deho-mana sushka kori. Sushka. Sushka means dry. Yeah. In Polish, sushona. Yeah. Deho-mana sushka kori, koria, rohibe, kumbhaka dori. Kumbhaka is pranayama. There's kumbhak, there's, what is it? Rechaka and kumbhaka, and there's one more. Kumbhaka is filling, it's the pot. It's keeping, I don't remember now. How come? I should know this. But anyway, it's pranayam. So he's saying, what is he saying? Deho-mana sushka. Minimizing your bodily and mental activities, deho-mana sushka kori, and making the senses dull and dry. You live by holding the breath in suspension. Yeah, kumbhaka is holding in the breath. Who's the yoga expert here? There's There's kumbhaka, rechaka, and what's the third one? One's breathing
Puraka.
in, one's breathing out, and one's holding.
Puraka.
Hmm?
Puraka. Maybe.
Udaka.
Puraka.
I can't hear. I have to turn my volume up. Say again.
Puraka. Hare Krishna.
Kuraka. Kuraka? Okay. Doesn't sound familiar to me. Okay, doesn't matter because we're not interested in yoga, right? Deho-mana suska kori rahibe. Rahibe means you will hold, you will keep, or you will retain. Dhrti means, I think, holding. Brahmatmata, maybe. Brahmatmata koribe bhavana or bhavana. So what does that mean? Thus, you practice the yoga process while contemplating on the soul's nature as Brahman. In classical yoga, I don't think they talk about Brahman, but that's okay. They talk about kaivalya and, of course, samadhi, but I don't think there's talk about Brahman. But okay, maybe someone is trying to do some yoga Vedanta, impersonal yoga Vedanta. Okay, third verse. Ashtadasha siddhi pabe or paibe, paramartha bhule habe, aisharjadi, koribe kamana. So ashtadasha is 8 plus 10. Ashta is 8, dasha is 10, and siddhi is perfection. 18 siddhis, or yogic mystic powers, paibe, you will obtain, you will gain. Paramartha bhule habe, the parama artha, the highest goal, bhule, will be forgotten. Charja adi koribe kamana, desires, kamana, you will make of opulence, aishvarya, etc. So let's see the translation. You will get the 18 mystic perfections, and mistaking them to be the greatest object of reality, you will entertain further wishes for still more wonderful opulences. Stula jar parihari sukshmete, which is probably sukmete in Bangla. Sukmete probesh kori punarai bhugibe jotana. Abandoning the plane of gross matter, that's stula, and entering into the subtle astral plane. Sukmete, pravesh. Pravesh is entering. Pravesh kori, korya. You will simply undergo more troubles and tribulations. Punarai bhugibe jatana. All over again. So punarai means, punar means again. And bhugibe, I presume, means undergo. Jatana, which I think means troubles and tribulations. So you'll go from gross to subtle bodies. Very nice. But then what? Then you're just going to have more of the same troubles again on the subtle plane, maybe. Verse 4, Atma Nitya Siddha-dhanahari-dasa akinchana joge-tar phala gatana. The eternally pure wealth of the spirit soul is simply to remain as the humble servant of Lord Hari, Haridas akinchana. Atma Nitya Shuddha-dhan. Dana is wealth, Shuddha-dhan, pure wealth. Atma, Nitya Shuddha-dhan, the eternal pure wealth. Atma of the self. What is it? Haridasa akinchana, to be a akinchana haridasa, a simple servant of Hari, or a humble servant, one who makes no claim to ownership. Joge-tar phala gatana. In comparison to this eternal wealth, what kind of spiritual result could possibly come from mundane so-called yoga practice? Joge, in yoga, Tara, I think the apostrophe is for an N with a mark over it. Tara, kiba gatana. So ki is the question word. What result? And gatana, I'm not sure what is gatana. Maybe coming from Katana. Anyway, Koro Bhakti-jogasroy. I think that's Koro ha, which is the imperative. Koro, do it. Bhakti-jogasroy na takibe kon bhai. Sahaja-amrita sambhavan. Here comes the good news. Just take refuge totally in the yoga of devotional service. Koro bhakti yoga ashraya. Ashraya, shelter. Na takive kon bhai. Don't remain takive, or don't live. You will not live kon bhai, in any fear. Na takive kon bhai. For then there is all likelihood of attaining, that you doesn't belong there, attaining mortal nectar very easily. Sahaja means easy or natural, sahaja. And so sahaja amrita, natural nectar, sambhavana, will happen, will manifest. Manifests. And then the signature line, Bino der e minati, chari anjo onno joga-gati koro radha Krishna aradhana. Bhaktivinoda's humble entreaty. Minati must be an unusual word. Minati is that you just perform the blissful worship of Radha Krishna, my dear mind, and immediately reject chari, that's charya, having given up, joga-gati, the goals of so-called yoga practice. Gati can mean both goal and the way to get to the goal, the path to the goal. In Sanskrit, in any case, anja jogi gati chariya. Give it up. Anybody out there doing mundane yoga, watch out. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is going to haunt you with this warning song. Hare Krishna. So time for some transformation into music, into singing, since Bhaktivinoda, this was his idea. He was teaching all the namhatas. It said that he created some 500 namhata groups within 2 or 3 years around Bengal. And he was teaching them all Vaishnava philosophy by writing these songs. Manah Jogi hote Tomar Basana. Manah Jogi hote Tomar Basana. Joga-sastra adhyayana niyama-yama-sadhana. Joga-sastra adhyayana niyama-yama-sadhana. Pranayama asana-racana. Pranamaya asana-racana. Pratyahara dhyana dhrti. Samadhite phala brati. Pratyahara dhrti. Samadhite phala brati. Phala kiba hoibe bolo na. Phala kiba hoibe bolo na. Deho-mana sushka kori rohibe kumbhaka dori. Kori rohibe kumbhaka kori. Brahmatmata koribe bhavana. Brahmatmata koribe bhavana. Ashtadasha siddhi pabe paramartha bhule habe. Pabe paramartha bhule habe. Aishwarjadi koribe kamana. Aisharjadi korire kama. Aisharjadi korire. Stula jara parihari. Shukmete pravesha kori. Punarai bhugibe jata. Punarai jata. Atma nitya suddha-dhanahari-dasa akinchana. Atma jogetar ki phala dhyana. Jogetar ki phala dhyana. Koro bhakti jogasroy nata kibe kon boy. Koro bhakti jogasroy nata kibe kon. Sahaja amrita sambhavana. Sahaja amrita sambhavana. Sahaja amrita. Dinoder eminati chari anja joga gati. Dinoder chari anja joga. Dinoder eminati chari anja joga gati. Koro Radha Krishna adhyayana. Koro Radha Krishna adhyayana. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Haribo, 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 Gora Haribo. Nitai Gora Haribo, 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 Gora Haribo, Nitai. Gaura Premanande Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakura ki. Yeah, so preaching to the mind. Yeah, we can say that one is to save us time. Yeah, Prabhupada mentions this in relation to the verse in Bhagavad Gita, Vasudeva Sarvamiti. What is it? After many lives. What's the first line? After many, many lives, one comes to understand that Vasudeva is everything. Such a Mahatma is very rare. And there's another verse we talked about some days ago, which has a similar function. Anyway, Prabhupada says about this verse that Krishna is saving us time because he's saying it takes so many lifetimes to realize that Vasudeva is everything. Or you just listen to what Krishna is saying in this verse, namely Vasudeva is everything. And then you understand, oh, okay, so I don't have to take many lives to understand. Saves bunches of time. Oh yeah, the other verse we talked about from the Gita. Abrahma bhuvanaloka punar avartinojana. Mamu petya tu kontya punar janma na vidyate or something. So from the topmost planet down to the lowest, all are places of returning, literally. Prabhupada says places of repeated misery, of repeated birth and death. So in other words, hearing that, then one doesn't have to make one doesn't have to become a tourist, a cosmic tourist, to wander around. It's all just there in one verse. There it is. Okay, save ourselves. Who knows how many lifetimes. So in this song, we may say, and all these songs like this, Bhaktivinoda Thakura wants to save us time. So don't waste your time with this, what we may say, impersonal yoga. Well, nothing really satisfying. Phala, kiba, hoibe, bolona. What fruit will there be? Don't even tell me. Rather, koro bhakti-jogasroy. Na takibe konboy. There's no fear in this bhakti yoga. There's a lot of fear in other sorts of yoga that you may slip and fall. No fear in bhakti yoga. Sahaja amrita sambhavana. Natural nectar is available. That's the fruit. And so he says, Koroho Radha Krishna Aradhana. Aradhana, worship, do the worship of Radha and Krishna as your yoga. And Charya Anya Yoga Gati. Give up all your other aims of yoga. Yeah, good advice, no? All right, so again, welcome to all of you who have joined us a bit later. And let's all give a hearty welcome to Arunodaya Shri Devi Dasi. Previously, you may have known her as Bhaktin Usha, and she's just been initiated. 1, 2, 3.
Haribol! Thank you, Maharaji. Thank you, everyone. Haribol, Maharaji ki jai.
We had a nice ceremony in Bhaktivedanta Manor in their new facility. And they said this would have been the very first initiation they've done in the so-called Haveli, the big facility, together with initiations of His Holiness Chandramauli Swami. He had several devotees receiving initiation. So it was, he was personally there. Yeah, it kind of reminded me, I mean, I didn't say this then, and I didn't say it to him, but reminded me of when I was taking sannyas initiation. Chandramauli Swami was kind of like the Ritvik sannyas guru, because Satchidananda Swami couldn't be personally present. So, yes, welcome. And now A little more Manah Shiksha, continuing with Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, verse number 7. And the Sanskrit goes like this, something like this. Pratishta shadrishta sapacharamani me hridinatet katam sadhu prema sprishati suchire tan nanumana sadatvam sevasva prabudayita samanthamatulam yata tang nishkasya Charitamrita veshayatisa. As long as the unchaste, dog-eating woman of desire for prestige dances in my heart, how can the chaste and pure lady of love for Krishna touch it? Therefore, O mind, you should always serve the incomparable beloved devotee commander of Krishna's army, who will immediately throw out the unchaste woman and establish the pure lady of love in the heart. So quite some graphic images there, and a strong contrast. All of these Manah Shiksha verses have some form which makes a strong contrast, I would say, between the material ways of the mind and the spiritual way of the mind, or the way that we aim for the mind to go. Oh, there it is. Bahunam janmanam. Yeah, of course. Bahunam janmanam ante. That was the verse I was trying to remember. Yanavang prapantyate vasudeva sarvamiti sa mahatma sudulava. After many births, sorry, a little interruption here. After many births and deaths, he who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is. Such a great soul is very rare. Which we could tie into this point of advising the mind. The mind is dwelling in this world, preoccupied in so many ways. And one of the ways that it gets preoccupied is with the pursuit of pratishta. And pratishta is, it comes from the verbal root sta, which means to stand. And tishta means to firmly stand or to desire to stand. And pratishta means really strong desire to have a position. So we're all looking for some kind of permanence. It's a problem. We all have this problem. We are in these material bodies, material, temporary, everything so temporary, so very temporary. And something in us is seeking permanence. And one way the mind thinks, oh, I know how I'll get permanence. I'll get a nice position in some kind of society. If I can be recognized by others as being something special, then that will give me some we say in English, status. Status means also position, social status. So what is the comparison? Pratishta asha, asha, the desire or hope. Drishta, drishta, not drishta, like seeing. Means unchaste. Shvapacha ramani, a dog-eating woman. In other words, a very, very uncultured woman who is unchaste. So an image is given of someone who is not only outcast, but also unchaste, not faithful to a husband or whatever. So the mind, if it's pursuing, pratishta, some status in this world, prestige, then it's going to be behaving, the mind is going to be behaving in ways similar to such a person, such a woman. It's going to be fickle. Fickle means the opposite of faithful, the opposite of chaste. It's going to be flickering, jumping, and so on. And it's going to be uncultured, we can say. Not uncultured means not properly behaving in the world. So instead of that, and that's, the positive, because the mind needs something positive. Otherwise, if we just say no, 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 then the mind just does it more. It grabs on more tightly. Instead, always, let's see, where is it? How can the chaste and pure lady of love for Krishna touch it? Okay, so there's a rhetorical question. Katam, how? Sadhu prema spishati. Shuchiretan nanu manaha. Nanu is, in Sanskrit commentary, this word comes up a lot as the beginning of a purva paksha, another opinion. Nanu, someone may say, but here it's just addressing the mind. Well, you mind. So how do you think you're going to be able to, how is your heart going to be touched by the chaste and pure lady of love for Krishna? So there's two ladies being contrasted as in relation to the mind. So that question is raised, and then the answer is given. Therefore, O mind, you should always serve. Who should you serve? Sadatvam sevasva, and that sevasva is imperative. Do it, you should serve. Prabhu Dayita Samantam, the beloved devotee commander of the Lord's army, is how it's translated here. And what is that commander of, devotee commander of the Lord's army going to do? Tam nishkashya tvaritam. He's going to throw out tam, her, namely the drishta, the unchaste Ramani, Shapacha Ramani, going to throw her out. How long will it take her? Take him? Tvaritam, no time at all. He'll do it right away. Tam veshayati. iha saha. So he is going to establish her, namely prema, in the heart. So that's the good news. A little something from Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur from his commentary. He's explaining drishta shvapaja ramani pratishtasha, the desire for prestige, is being an unchaste dog-eating woman. He says this desire for honor is the root of all other anarthas. The root of all other anarthas. But since it is never able to recognize its own fault, it is shameless. And then he goes on elaborating on the analogy of the Shvapacharamani, the woman who eats dog. He says, fame is like dog flesh. And one who is eager for such fame is called drushta Shvapacharamani, a dog-eating promiscuous woman. Pretty strong language. He goes back referring to what we read last week about the 3 types of sadhakas. Now, if I did a little quiz, we could test you. What are these? What's the name of these 3 sadhakas? Okay, I'll make it easy. The first is the sva-nishta sadhaka. Then there's the parinishta sadhaka, and there's the nirapeksha sadhaka. And the first 2 are grihastas, and the third is a renunciant. But all of them, we may remember, are subject to a variety of possible anarthas. Yeah, they were listed. We won't go into it in detail, but specifically, each of them have different ways of being deceptive. Deception. Deception is one of the 4 shortcomings that all conditioned souls have. Brahma, pramada, vipralipsa, and karanapatava. Vipralipsa is tendency to cheat, Prabhupada translates, or deceptiveness. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur gave us a whole bunch of different ways that we might be deceptively making a show of being devotional. And now he's going on to say each one of these 3 types of sadhakas can also be hankering after honor, prestige in different ways. So the svanishta sadhaka wants to become renowned, wants to become recognized for being religious, for being benevolent, and for being sinless. Look at me, I am so religious, I am so sinless, and so on. I am good. Look at me, I am good. A parinishta sadhaka wants to be known as a devotee of Vishnu, as a knower of spiritual subject matters, and as detached. Look at me, everyone. See how detached I am? Look at me, everyone. I am Vaishnava, servant of Vishnu. Look at me, everyone. I am knowing so much spiritual subject matters. And finally, a nirapeksha sadhaka wants to be known as spotless and renounced as a master of the conclusions of Shastra and as having a perfect understanding of devotion. So, of course, these are all overlapping, we can say, but this is how Bhaktivinoda Thakur puts it. And, but now here's the point which I've noted specifically, I found interesting. As long as one maintains a desire for honor, pratishta, as long as that's the case, deceit, kapatata, deceptiveness, will also remain. So we want to get a position, a recognition. That means we will be subject to being deceptive. And until one is free from deceit, one cannot obtain the saintly people's pure love. So going back to the verse, we want to get the devotee, the beloved devotee, commander of the Lord's army on our side by serving such devotee or devotees. But they're not going to be on our side if we keep resisting what they're offering. They're offering us, they're offering to touch our heart in such a way that we will not be attracted to pratishta and kapatata. So there you go. Oh, it's already that time. Okay. A little bit more. Srila Rupa Goswami gives us a progression in his Bhakti-jogasroy Sindhu in the first wave, section 4, verse number 1. Sometimes it's nice to hear, okay, I'm on the path. Where am I going? How do I get to Krishna Prema? So he's giving a lot of this in his Bhakti-jogasroy Sindhu. Samyan ma srinita svanto mamatvati shayankita. Mamatva atishayankita. Bhava sa eva sandratna budhai prema nigadyate. Okay, what's it mean? When bhava condenses and intensifies, it softens the heart completely. And one becomes filled with great attachment and possessiveness toward Krishna. That intense love is called prema. It's interesting, possessiveness, because we always hear we should be detached, we should be renounced, and therefore not possessive. But what happens when someone becomes advanced in Krishna consciousness? They again become possessive. But they become possessive of Krishna. They feel Krishna is mine. And that is called mamata, or here it's mamatva. So condensed bhava, condensed and intensified. Condensed and intensified. When I think of condensed, I think of condensed milk. When you boil down milk, right, becomes condensed. And then at a certain point, you add some sugar. And before you know it, you have burfi, barfi. It softens the heart completely and one becomes filled with great attachment. What's that in the Sanskrit? Not sure. Samyak. Mush. Yeah, I guess it's anta, I guess, is the inner self, sva anta, within oneself. Mashrinita, softening, samyak, completely. So you have something to look forward to. We all have something to look forward to. Srila Raghunath Das Goswami Ki Jai. Hare Krishna. To share with the rest of us. Don't be shy. Something happening.
Guru Maharaj, we have Ananda Lila Mataji who wants to present the project in Brazil.
Oh, okay. Yes, please.
Ananda
Hare
Lila.
Krishna. Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
So family and friends, it's for us a great honor to present our project. So I think Guru Chanda can share our screen.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. You can start.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
No, you can.
so for the past 21 years, we are working here on this project that we are just building since 2019. And it's a very, very honor for us to show it to all of you, because we are looking for these wonderful blessings that the Vaishnavas could give to us. So we are located in South America, South Brazil, precisely, in an island with 45 beaches, and the city is called Florianopolis, where I met the devotees in 1999, and on this occasion I was invited to visit our cultural center here, and I just realized that it was much more a kind of namahata, and a very charming couple of Vaishnavas received me in a very, very effective way. So I decided in this day precisely that one day, if Krishna wanted, I don't know how to say, we could offer to our founder Acharya this cultural center. So here we are. I don't know. It's the share. This is the city, the island, the 45 beaches. And yes, and we are just near to the main
Universities.
State University and Federal University of our state. And that's a small video with the construction. We are just a small, tiny cultural center in the city, but we are under progress, work in progress, since 2019. So there is some images. Oh, and also our idea for this cultural center is to present our Krishna tradition in a very secular way, so we can dialogue and establish some dialogues with the contemporary culture. For that, I lived in Paris for almost 10 years, where I studied art history, archaeology, and curatorial practice. So since 2010, we are back to Brazil, and we worked with many cultural centers and museums here. And I also would like to share with you another very nice news that Krishna gave to us, because in one year ago, a very big communication agency, I don't know how to say in English, from Portland in the US came to us, and they offered pro bono a kind of service in which they call visual identity for our communication, and they prepared a presentation of our project with this mantra Om Namo and this is the build. I'm so sorry, this is always in Portuguese, but there is this very visual also presentation. And that is the building. It's a very simple building. We just would like to organize some programs inside, and it's much better if the architecture is would be simple, because we work with maybe 120 artists, contemporary artists from Brazil, and I also, as an artistic director, work for two institutions as a kind of, in São Paulo, as a kind of exchange. And with this work, we could get some funds for the construction workers. I don't know. I'm sorry. Oh, this is the view of the engineers, and that's the building. Maybe that picture, that image has maybe 8-9 months. Mm-hmm. And that's one with Nandalila working with the administrative and financial staffs. And there is another maybe. Oh. And then we worked with this idea because we are in a street called Veras. So we decided to named this cultural center Vedas, with this idea to establish a kind of dialogue between the secular world from this part.
I think it is important to say that in Portuguese, the word Vedas means real, what is real. And Veras is the root for many other words, like, I don't know in English, veracidade, veracity, truthfulness. So Veras means truth, real. So it's I think it's important to explain the word.
So we just decided to establish also this dialogue between Vedas and Vedas. That's why we have a program called Vedas in the Vedas at Vedas. And the second floor of this building, we name it Bhakti and Vedanta. And that's the inside of the room. It's almost
I think
done.
it's now.
Yes, this picture is from the last week. And we have also this kind of entrance, very beautiful, with some gardens for vegetables and many other plants, herbs. And we also trying to explain this idea to our public that our project is a kind of network. This is maybe in Portuguese, but it's maybe easy to translate. It's a kind of spiritual sanctuary. It's a kind of ethical web, I don't know, and artist garden. So we work with these three concepts, you know, spiritual sanctuary, ethical web, and artistic garden. And there is another piece from the agents who work for this project. And at Vedas, we work with these three concepts of yoga, bhakti festivals, meditation and japa and kirtans. And yes, there's a lot of information about our architectural program. With ground floor, first and mezzanine, I don't know, and floor 1, 2, and the rooftop for agnihotras and urban retreat activities. And also in this second floor, we would like to organize some bhakti festivals from our Vaishnava calendar. And yes, and this is one of the programs we organized during the COVID pandemic, only online with the help of Pradyumna and Vishaka, they are also here today. They live in São Paulo, and it was a program who
explain the 26 qualities of Srila Prabhupada.
With many of the Prabhupada's disciples from Brazil and other senior devotees. And we organized this. And this was our first project from made by this branch of the cultural center, now named Bhakti and Vedanta. And I think it's all we have prepared. We also would like to share with you our
source of inspiration, the three main projects the first is in Italy.
Yes, it's a kind of initiation. It's the project of Matsyavatara Prabhu, a Prabhupada disciple who live in Toscane, near to Florence, and of course the Bhakti Center in New York, and also a project here in Brazil developed by Dhamvantari Swami, who yes, in the northeast of Brazil, and that's our project. We are really happy to share with you, and I'm sorry for my limitations with the English language.
Você poderia voltar no primeiro slide? So for us is I think for us is very important to spread Krishna consciousness by a cultural movement. For us, Bhakti means spiritual culture. And sorry for our broken English, but I'd like to extend our gratitude toward Mukunda Mali Dasi and Madai Jivananitai Das, because we found these, how is it, comments? On the Guru Maharaj website. And for us, express the whole idea of Vera's cultural center. So I think it's this. Yeah. So thank you very much. It's a great opportunity, and it's an offering for Srila Gurudeva and Srila Prabhupada. So thank you for the opportunity.
Hare Krishna, thank you. This is very exciting. And I sort of lost connection for 2 or 3 minutes. We lost our electricity, but I think I'm back, I hope. Do you have a projected opening date, official opening date for the Cultural Center?
Yes, it's kind of, we are looking for the COVID, I don't know how to say, but we'd like to open on November in this year, in a few months, but the context may change our plan.
Yeah, everything is uncertain.
Yes,
well,
only Krishna knows.
Yes, let's hope for the best.
Yes, thank you, Gurudeva.
And speaking of Brazil, I see Madana Jivani, who is now no longer in Brazil. She's back in Mayapur. Hare Krishna. Very nice. Nice that you've made it there. Okay. Right. Anyone else have something you want to share? Don't be shy. Oh, Radha Radha.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for your wonderful talk.
Speaking from Madeira.
I found very interesting how you explained the roots of Pratishta. What strikes me there is that Bhaktivinoda was probably the Vaishnava with the highest status ever in normal society.
Oh, yeah.
Now the magistrate. And he was a very forceful personality, and he was anything but falsely humble. So
yeah,
basically the pratyahara thing everybody knows, and the usual way around is like playing the humble part. Well, could you expand on that? That maybe false humility is the biggest enemy of real humility? That's just the thought I got listening to that, and that middle way, because obviously we need status and some stability, but we need the introspection also to not take it serious, especially ourselves.
Oh, yes. Yeah, thank you for bringing this up. Radharadhya is speaking all the way from Madeira. It's a little tiny island out in the middle of the Atlantic. Also a Portuguese island. So we're still in the world of Brazil.
Yeah, many Brasileiros are here.
Yeah, so this issue comes up a lot about real versus false humility. And how do you function in the world if you're going to be, all humble, then everyone is just going to step on you. And Prabhupada has spoken about that too. One of you brought this up in the chat. And there's a Bengali saying, I learned about this years ago, that if you're too humble, even the goats will eat you. So what are we looking at? Are we looking for some sort of borderline or what? But I think you've already answered it. It's about self-reflection and self-honesty. And it's about recognizing all the time internally, however much we may be assertive externally, that internally we know who's the boss. We know Krishna's the boss. And so, and we also know that whatever abilities or qualifications that we may have, there's always someone who has it so much better than we do. There's always someone in front of us or above us, and somebody behind or below us. And so the practice, is, it's sharanagati, isn't it? It's seeing what's favorable, it's seeing what's not favorable, it's acting accordingly. It's keeping shelter in Krishna. So rakshishyati iti vishvasa, having faith in Krishna's shelter. And so that suggests that when I'm trying to take shelter in material status, that's not going to work. It's going to be either shelter in Krishna or some false shelter. But we all live in the material world in which we have to function, in which if we want to accomplish anything, we do have to be assertive sometimes. But assertive for Krishna. And that's what Srila Prabhupada was, the wonderful example for this. He was, he could be totally assertive and speak strongly. And he could say things like, our duty is to disturb the demons, and things like that. He said that once. But it was all for Krishna. And we could see that everything he did, said, thought, it was all going into the fire of the Supreme Brahman, as the Bhagavad Gita says. And that's orientation is, I think, where the genuine humility and the genuine overcoming of pratishtha happens. Put another way, we can say what we want is to see the pratishtha, the establishment, or the status. We want to raise the status of Krishna. And how do we do that? Ultimately, there are no hard and fast rules. There's Krishna in the heart inspiring the devotee what to do in a particular circumstance, what to do, what not to do, what to say, what not to say. And so it seems to be a matter of orientation, motivation. And your good wife, Sita Sundari, is adding a comment here to this. Is it also the question of where we draw from? A person claiming to be a worm in the stool can be suffering from a material low self-esteem, whereas a truly humble person actually means it. Yeah. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami really meant it. He really felt when he compared himself to worm and stool. And somebody else, famous case of a devotee making a dandavat pranam before Srila Prabhupada and saying, "Oh, Prabhupada, I am the most fallen, I am the most fallen, I am the most fallen." And Prabhupada said, "You're not the most anything." You're not the most anything. He turned that devotee's false ego into powder in 1 second. He could see that he was thinking, I'm the most fallen means I'm the greatest. He saw that. So no, sorry, you're not that. You're not the most anything.
You're not even the most fallen.
You're not the most fallen. You're not the least fallen. You're not most anything.
Yeah. That's a very good point, because that's the usual psychology that we always try to feel special, and that can take all colors, really. The weirdest. Yeah.
And on the other side, from Krishna's perspective, we are all special. Each and every living being is unique and has a unique relation to Krishna. And so, and out of that recognition, this gets back to the verse from Rupa Goswami that mamatva or mamata, the possessiveness of Krishna, Krishna is mine, is a kind of reflection of that recognition that Krishna, from Krishna's perspective, everyone is special. And therefore, a devotee doesn't need to work for any kind of recognition in this world, because he or she knows I'm recognized by Krishna. I belong to Krishna. Krishna belongs to me, mamata. Yeah. So like that. Did you want to give us any message? Not that we want to get depressed now, but you have been keeping us updated about COVID.
Yeah, it's funny because people always wish me a happy holidays. Basically, I'm working all the time and get daily multiple letters from especially unvaccinated devotees. who have gotten the Delta virus. The Alpha virus, the original virus, was like a cat, and the Delta virus is like a tiger. And the big difference is it's 3 to 5 times more contagious. So you get it outside also in festivals, which has happened. Now it's all over Europe now. Radhadesh, Zurich, Golokadam, all the temples are getting it. Whilst previously most cases were really mild and asymptomatic, Delta virus mild means you're sick like a dog for 1 to 2 weeks minimum. It's like a heavy flu. This is healthy persons getting it. That's mild. Serious means you go to the hospital, end up on ICU, and not rarely, it's not known with Delta, you have long COVID. Once you've been to the intensive care unit, your brain ages around 10 years. You're practically damaged for life. So the old virus was a joke. That's why India opened up. They fared really well with the Alpha virus. They stupidly opened up everything and have probably around 4 million deaths according to studies now. This new virus is a completely different story. And whilst for healthy people, vaccination was an option before, it's not anymore, since almost everybody will get it. It's so contagious. Vaccination with an mRNA vaccine like Pfizer, BioNTech, or Moderna is basically a must if you want to maintain your health. And the risk-benefit ratio has dramatically shifted to these kinds of vaccines. They offer really good protections. There are side effects, like with all vaccines. Basically, a vaccine is a mild infection. So those people who react after an mRNA vaccine, they would react 10 to 100 times stronger if they get the real virus. It's just mimicking a mild infection. It's not something totally unnatural and all that bullshit, I have to say, because it really lacks scientific basis. It's a mild infection, and all the side effects known are the one people get from COVID, just usually a lot milder. And previously with Alpha, you could protect yourselves. With Delta, very, very hard. So get your vaccine now before the wave hits you, and it's going to be like in India. Not so many dead people, of course, in Europe, because the majority is already vaccinated, especially the high-risk groups. But amongst the devotees, very few are vaccinated, and everybody gets it.
Yeah.
Also, the ones with Alpha, by the way, you get reinfected. You have no immunity against the new virus. I've gotten to know a lot of devotees who are on the second round. Whole temples are on the second round.
You mentioned Golokadam in Germany. They're getting the
No,
Delta.
they are through already. No, but they loaded up in time in vitamin D, and because we discovered it, the fast tests were all negative. The PCR test was positive and correct. Everybody got it. 2 were short in the hospital, but no, by and large, they were all really sick, but they all came out quite well. So vitamin D, vitamin C, zinc, that helps to some degree to avoid long COVID, which I see as the biggest problem. It's not you have the disease and then you jump back into normal life. It takes you weeks to fully recover, and for some people it takes years or then never recover at all, especially elder ones. So this is not a joke. This is worse than the Spanish flu.
Krishna.
So COVID before was, in my mind, quite harmless. It only really affected people with risk factors. This is a different story. Like, I get reports from India, everybody lost close relatives. The official numbers are completely false because obviously the poor people were never tested, therefore they just die, and are burned. It's serious stuff, and you saw in my opinion, I don't think Krishna can send any more clear message to the devotees communities that the Pujari of Lord Nrsingadev died unnecessarily from COVID.
Yeah. Yeah, this is too painful.
Sorry for the downer. The happy news is vaccines work and side effects are limited. Positive ending, sorry.
Okay. Thank you. This is, for those of you who don't know, this is Radharadhya Prabhu, who is a medical doctor by qualification, and who studies in particular the present situation with with this virus. So he's advising us. To me, it sounds reasonable. So I think we should go with what's reasonable. Anyway.
I would like to mention I'm not pro-vaccine in general. No, it's always a risk-benefit analysis. But in this case, it's 100% crystal clear. There is no alternative to the vaccine. But take the right one. Don't take the Astra chunk or Johnson & Johnson. Get the ones that work and have less side effects.
Okay. Yes. Well, I've done it myself some weeks ago, and I got the minor side effects. Wasn't that bad. You know, after a day and a half or 2 days, life goes on. But let's get back to Srimad Bhagavatam, shall we? Thank you. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. So in anticipation of Lord Krishna's appearance, the description, quite detailed description of Lord Krishna's appearance is in 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, the first, second, third chapters in particular. So one can be reading that. I suggested last week you might like to read the 10 verses in chapter 7 of Canto 2, which gives a overview of Krishna's pastimes, all in 10 verses, essentially just describing his killing pastimes, which on the other hand, we understand Krishna actually doesn't kill the demons. When the killing goes on, that is Vasudeva. But anyway. And another place to look for thinking about the Lord's appearance in the Bhagavatam is in Canto 1, Chapter 8, the prayers of Queen Kunti. The context of these prayers is that the war, the battle of Kurukshetra, is over. Leaving millions of people dead. And Yudhishthira has ascended the throne, and the Pandavas have prevailed, but in a rather sad condition, because as Arjuna was anticipating before, as the war was about to begin, he said, this is going to be terrible devastation and there will be terrible consequences. Krishna said to him, it doesn't matter. You just have to fight. So he did, and the Pandavas fought, and they did win with the help of Krishna and with the help of his advice, which was sometimes not according to Dharma. And it's been pointed out that from the 1st to the 18th day of the war is a sort of progressive loss of dharmic practices for kshatriyas. They start kind of tossing out the standards, the regulations, one after another, and then by the end, it's just madness. Well, after the war, and peace has been reestablished. When nobody's there, then it's peaceful. And Krishna says, well, it's time for me to go back home to Dwaraka. He has other things to do. And Kunti wants to express her gratitude and her appreciation of all that Lord Krishna has done for her and the Pandavas. And at the same time, she's glorifying him as none other than the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I'm kind of frequently doing this, but I'll do it again, promoting another book. This series, Bhagavat Subodhini, is done by devotees at Govardhan Eco Village. It's a really very nice study guide of the Bhagavatam. They also have for Chaitanya Charitamrita. This is covering cantos 1 and 2, and then there's more volumes. They have, for example, they have nice charts. Like here, this is showing a kind of breakdown of all of Kunti's prayers according to theme. So the first group of 3 prayers is about knowing the Lord. The second 5 verses is Kunti expressing her good fortune. The next 3 verses are qualifications to approach the Lord. The next 4 verses are about the Lord's nature being inconceivable and bewildering. Then the next 5 are about explanations of why the Lord appears. So this was what I thought we can look at briefly. And the final 6 verses are Kunti Devi expressing her desire for the Lord to her desire to have more association with the Lord. Another nice feature of this overview and can say kind of study guide is that the devotees have included what they call links. And I believe they've taken these from the commentaries, typically Sridhar Swami and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura. In the beginning of any verse commentary, they do this in the Gita also, they'll tie the meaning of a verse back to the previous verse. Why is it that this verse is following this verse? And so they're giving that in this study guide, which is very nice, very helpful. So I want to jump into her prayers at verse number 30. The theme of, here it's giving 2 verses with one theme, the inconceivable nature of the Lord's birth and activities. And let's see, the link. No, there's a link for the previous, but so here's the verse number 30, Janma karma cha vishvatman ajasya kartur atmana tiryan nrishishu yada su tat atyanta vidambanam. Of course, it is bewildering. Vidambanam is translated as bewildering. O soul of the universe, that you work though you are inactive, that you take birth though you are the vital force and the unborn. You yourself descend among animals, men, sages, and aquatics. Verily, this is bewildering. This word vidambanam comes a few times in these verses. And it's an interesting word. Prabhupada translates it as bewildering. I looked up in the Sanskrit dictionary. It can also mean imitating or representing. Can also mean disguise. So this would, all these meanings would go well with tiryam rishishu yadasu. The Lord appears, he's, you can say, imitating the animals. He's imitating, he's imitating aquatics, or he's representing them, or he's disguised as animals, human, etc. But Prabhupada's translation is also nice, bewildering, because we can say that's the overall feeling we get upon contemplating that the Lord appears in all these different ways. It's kind of mind-boggling that there is a supreme person and he can appear in any and every form. Yeah, when I think about that too much, I get bewildered. When I think about the different forms of life that there are. There are octopus, for example. Does the Lord appear as the original octopus? Well, the Bhagavatam is saying, why not? Why not? Yeah. And then here's the link to the next verse. Because of this, because you are like this, your appearance is so mysterious and so bewildering, I relish your pastimes. That's the explanation of what is being said in the next verse. Gopyada de tvayakritaga sidama tavat yate dashashru kalilanjana sampramaksham vaktram niniya vayabhavana yastitasya samang imo hayatibir apiyat bibeti. My dear Krishna, Yashoda took up a rope to bind you when you committed an offense. And your perturbed eyes overflooded with tears, which washed the mascara from your eyes. And you were afraid, though fear personified is afraid of you. This sight is bewildering to me. Vimohayati is the word for bewildering this time. Literally he causes bewilderment, or this sight causes bewilderment. Okay, now, again, in the context of anticipating the Lord's appearance, a question may arise, why does the Lord appear? And Srila Prabhupada was happy to, when he spoke on this subject, especially on Janmashtami or, well, so many times, but he would quote Bhagavad Gita. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyutanam adharmasya tadatmanam sujamyaham paritranaya sadhanam vinashaya chadushkritam dharma sangstapanartaya sambhavami yuge yuge. Krishna's outlining the reasons for his appearing there, but Kunti is giving some more reasons. Kechit, some people. Well, here I want to summarize, because they've conveniently given us numbers. They've numbered the reasons. Altogether 7 reasons are given. We might quiz you on this. Number 1, to glorify pious kings like Yudhishthira. So if the Lord and others, maybe not. Second, dear devotee yadus. So he's favoring the yadus, and you could say this is the reason why he seems to have left Vrindavan. Seems, because we understand he didn't really leave Vrindavan, but he seems to leave Vrindavan because he wants to please the yadus. There's an analogy given of sandalwood in the Malaya bringing fame to the Malaya hill. Now and then we wonder, where is the Malaya hill or hills? Is it Malaysia? In any case, the third purpose is to answer the prayers of Vasudeva and Devaki. They asked for the Lord to come, and they were enough qualified by their austerities and by the intensity of their desire and by Krishna's agreeing that the Lord appeared to them. Fourth reason, to kill asuras. That's number 4, to kill asuras. And number 5, for the welfare of all people. Number 6, in response to Brahma's prayers to diminish the trouble of the overburdened earth. And finally, what they've labeled here as the real reason, number 7, to rejuvenate Shravanam, Smaranam, Arhanam, so that suffering conditioned souls might gain liberation. Bhavesmin klishyamananam avidya kama karmabi Shravana smaranarhani karishyan iti kechana. So if someone's looking for a reason for the Lord to appear, we can say, well, how about 7 reasons? And within each of these, we could expand them in so many ways by describing the Lord's pastimes. And the last one of these, to rejuvenate. So to rejuvenate, it comes from Latin, I guess, youth, juvana, yovana. It's from Sanskrit, cognitive Sanskrit. Yovana, yuva. To rejuvenate, to make youthful. So to bring back to youth, or to make fresh, to make new, that which has faded away or gone away, namely the practices of Shravanam, Smaranam, Arhanam, which is worship, and so on, all the different activities of devotional service. That was about all I wanted. there was one other thing. We do have a few minutes. Okay, here we go. I was reading a little bit of, this is such a heavy book, this nice book about Yamuna Devi. Yamuna Devi, A Life of Unalloyed Devotion, in 2 volumes by Dinatarini Devi, who we hope one day to get to speak, but let's see, she's waiting for the next book to come out and then we might be able to persuade her. Yeah, we're also hoping to have, I don't know if I should say the name because we don't know if he's agreeing to do it. We're hoping for another guest, senior guest devotee to join us. Maybe next week, we'll see. I just found something which relates to Janmashtami in memories of Yamuna Devi. This must have been 1974 in Vrindavan. At about 10:30 on the morning of Janmashtami, I brought to Srila Prabhupada some arati equipment we had made for the Krishna Balaram temple. Prabhupada looked at it and said, "Do you have these in silver?" And I said, "No, Srila Prabhupada, our intention was first to have all of them made in bell metal and see if the organization is such that they are nicely taken care of. And there is no loss." And then Prabhupada said, "Yes, this is a good idea." Prabhupada took lots of suggestions from different devotees. He solicited very often, and specifically, he solicited a lot of advice from Yamuna Devi. Then she says she has an idea to make a pravesh mandap in front of the deity area, a few things, and Prabhupada likes the ideas, talking about because they're still constructing the Krishna Balaram Mandir. And I found this interesting. Those of you who have been to Vrindavan and have been in the Krishna Balaram Mandir, you know that on the far right, from the side of the deities, there's an alcove, which is opposite of the alcove in which Srila Prabhupada sits on his Vyasasana. So Yamuna Devi is suggesting to Srila Prabhupada, she says, we could get these big kettle drums, big drums that are used in temples during the arti. So while the arti is going, devotees can beat these drums. And she said we could also get some big, nice gongs and a bell with a long rope. And then all of this can be played during the arti. So she's explaining all of this to Prabhupada and how these could be played during the arti, and then they could be put to the side at other times. And she said in that alcove opposite of Prabhupada, there could be cushions, and there devotees could sit and do bhajan, 24-hour kirtan, for the pleasure of the deities. Srila Prabhupada replied, yes, this is a very good idea for pleasing Krishna and Balaram. They will bless you for such planning matters. I don't think they ever followed through. I've never seen the big kettle drum in the Krishna Balaram Mandir. But I've been thinking we should do this we could have this for Nrsingadev in Singhachalam, big kettle drum. Hare Krishna, on that happy note, I wish you all the best. Yes. Iris is asking, and yes, the answer is RNA vaccine, I think it's called. And there are different companies producing these. So that's about it for today. And I want to thank you all again and wish you all a wonderful and safe week. We just heard warning that it looks like the virus situation is by no means over, so we have to be careful. And in any case, what do? We chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I'd like to thank all of our translators and our musical backup crew. You haven't seen them, but we have Brihaspati and Amelia here. They helped us with the kirtan. And all of you for continuing to encourage me. I'm always open for suggestions. We're not absolutely fixed on the format, how we're doing this. We're just doing it because that's how we kind of got into this routine. And yes, thank you all very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavarinda ki jai. Nitai Gaura Premanande Hari.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Jai.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Prabhu Puri, Hare Krishna.